What's up, everybody? It is Kevin and Sergey once again welcoming you back to the channel for another in our video development vlog series. I don't know why I always say video development vlog, because I'm literally saying
like video development
video
vlog.
development video log. Doesn't matter. Either way, we welcome you back. But today's episode is a bit unique. Normally, these devlogs are Patron exclusive, but for today in particular, we are actually allowing everybody access to this video.
This is partially because we want to give everyone kind of a preview of what our patrons have access to, but also because the topic that we're going to be discussing most today kind of has pertinence to all of our subscribers.
But before we get into the main topic for today, we're going to just continue with our normal format, which obviously begins with thanking everybody who is a member in our Patron community. You guys' support is so important to the growth of our channel, and we cannot appreciate you enough.
And as always, we're tracking kind of our channel goals, the first of which is getting to 1,000 subscribers, and we are tantalizingly close. We are at 953. Tell all of your friends about us. Tell all of your enemies about us. Tell all of the people you don't know on the street about us.
You're gonna get committed. They're gonna run up. There's these two guys on the internet. They're called the Tabletop Warlords. It's like, I don't know who you are. But in all seriousness, we really appreciate you guys and our help against the algorithm. All the shares, likes, and comments always help a lot.
Now, before we get to kind of discussing what we've been working on behind the scenes at TTW, we always like to start off these development vlogs with questions from our patrons. It's our favorite part of doing this, and we're excited for more.
Our first patron question comes from Seamus, who asks, or says, "Hey guys, I can't help but notice a severe lack of Gary goodness on the channel lately. Is there a reason for the lack of the Garmies on the table? I also wondered if you guys were considered having guests on like other channels do. Keep up the great work. Take care." Well, thank you for the question, Seamus.
I actually saw this question previous to us filming the battle report that I'm currently editing right now. And I was like, you know what? He's right. There has been a lack of Gar, and there is actually no reason for it. So I told Kevin I wanted to field a 1,000 point Gar army in this battle report. So you're about to see a whole lot of Gar badassery on the field. I forced a bombardment crawler and a command crawler in at 1,000 points, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a very fun army to play.
Also, one of these days, I will finish the Gar Rebel army. It's something Sergey gives me a hard time about all the time. Like, I have
on like
all
a weekly
minis.
Basis, yeah.
I just like, I mean, I have a bunch of battle suits. It's just so many Gar to paint.
It is the most labor intensive of armies.
It's a huge mark of shame on our channel. We don't have the Gar Rebels, but one of these days. As far as having guest stars on the channel, we absolutely would love to do that more. Our first guest star was my awesome girlfriend, Laura, and she has since challenged
me,
Sergey, and she said she wanted to play the Gar.
Oh!
So
okay.
that would be more Gar.
Interesting. I never actually play against the Gar. I'm going to be on the
horrible.
back foot.
It's horrible. Either way, but so that would be more Gar content in the future, and yeah, Laura had a lot of fun. But either way, when we work on our next rollout of the next game that we've been working on to feature in the channel, we're actually going to be having a guest star for
throughout
that
the entire series.
Yeah, so
Yep.
we're going to have a third person, one of our very good friends, join in too. So we definitely
actually he's the man who drew that awesome picture behind
my amazing painting.
He's a very excellent artist.
Yeah. We would honestly also at some point like to go to conventions and whatnot here in the future, and so it would also be fun to, you know, have like, I don't know, live episodes or episodes that are filmed on scene with
well, I would really
people.
I've never discussed this with Kevin, so feel free to reject this idea, but I've always thought it would be cool to go to conventions and do like in-person under the tabletop episodes.
Yeah,
like,
that'd be cool too.
Like a short one, like get like a 10-minute interview with like Sean Sutter at Adepticon, or, you know, walk around and just start shoving microphones in people's faces and force
that
them
would be
to
really
on
fun.
our channel. Exactly.
Sergey
we can get one of those long microphones. I can be wearing like a full suit, but like just shorts underneath.
Oh my god. Our next patron question is from Yari, who asks, "How do you two know each other did little Sergey and little Kevin meet at the Sandbox years ago, and it was a bromance at first sight? I mean, we've definitely discussed
I kicked over
this.
a sandcastle.
Yeah, he would. He's like, tournament standards. Anyways, I'm almost positive we've actually answered this question in previous devlogs.
And on the Freeborn Shard, actually.
As well as being
People
guests on the
are
Freeborn
always
Shard,
curious
but
about our bromance.
I was gonna say, briefly though, me and Sergey have known each other for somewhere in the order of like 6 or 7 years, maybe.
It might be more than that at this point.
No, I don't think
honestly
so.
don't
Because
know.
we've been doing the channel for 3 years, probably about 6 years.
Because I was 23 when I met you.
Oh god, I'm so old.
Yeah, I was 23 when I met you.
I'm 6
and
years
I'm
older than you,
29 right now. So it's been 6 years, yeah.
Okay, yeah, there we go. But either way, we met because I was the manager at an Asian food place, and I hired Sergey as one of my servers, and so we met at work. And then when I think we did start doing the channel while we worked there together, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think it was after that.
Well, no, I'm sorry. Well, I was transferred then to another restaurant, and I think we started the channel while we worked at the separate restaurants.
Yeah.
But then Sergey decided to transfer and followed me, so we worked at 2 restaurants together.
Yeah.
And now we are doing everything to avoid that line of work.
Yeah. Well, Kevin is the one who hired me there too. So my theory is that Kevin has poor social skills and needs to pay people to hang out with him.
I swear to God. Our next patron question comes from Knight Silver, who asks, I don't remember if this was already answered, but why do you guys believe Antares is one of the best games? And he goes on to agree because he likes the initiative system, which I would say is one of the coolest things.
Yeah, honestly, one of the things that draws me most to it.
Yeah, I think that was so the first thing. Because, like, when we first got into Antares, it was because I had collected a bunch of Warhammer stuff, but, like...
Warhammer Fantasy, correct? Or
both, actually, 40k and Fantasy.
Me too.
But I was at that early wargaming stage where all I really did was buy armies and just fill notebooks with armies, like, lists, but never really got to play it.
Paint them,
And so by the time we had gotten to where we were about to start our channel, like, everything I had was old. Everything I had was outdated. I didn't have any of the current rulebooks. So I literally had just searched, like, science fiction wargame. And so the hard science fiction look of Antares was probably what brought me in first. But then after realizing the mechanics of the game and how it wasn't that stereotypical you go and then I go, because I was always weirded out. That's a big thing for us. Yeah,
we tend to not like that style of game.
Well, it's just it weirded me out in 40k in particular, because at the time, like I said, it's like I don't even know what the game plays like now.
True,
so it's like we're
pretty out of date on our.
I was just saying, it was like my critiques are from many years ago versions of it, but it was, you know, your army went and then my army went, and so it just felt like almost like musket lines, just being like, okay, fire, you know, and then the next one. So I really did like the dynamic initiative system, and so that, coupled with the complication of how nuanced the rules are, it's just really cool.
Yeah, well, the game has a lot of depth.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought that it would be an incredibly interesting game if it ever got like as popular as something like Warhammer, because I think the tournament scene would be like wild, because there's so much depth with each faction that like Apex lists would quickly be countered. Like the meta would evolve really, really quickly and really, really strangely, and I think it would be really cool. And that's the thing that I look for in games the most. Like, I like Magic the Gathering more than like Pokemon cards, because it's like crazy in depth. Like, there's endless amounts of depth, and that's how I feel like Antares is.
You take that back, Sergey. Pokemon, the trading card game, is an in-depth. No, I
mean, it might be. Don't get me, like, I don't want to insult any
remember.
Pokemon TCG fans. I don't know much about the Pokemon card game. I do, however, love Magic the card game
when I was playing that game. But yeah, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, it's anybody who does appreciate that, because it's like there's something to be said about simplistic wargaming rules. You know what I mean? Like guns with a single range band, things like that. But I like to get immersed in the environment and the aspects of the game, and I think Antares just lends to that very well. I mean, it just makes it very as complicated as you want to make it, you can do that with Antares. And I think that's why it's one of the best war games systems I've ever played.
Yeah. It's also, I will say, very well written for customizability. It's pretty easy to make characters that fit into the world and fit fairly into the world. Obviously, you still have to playtest just like any other game. Same with scenarios. Very easy to write very functional scenarios for Antares.
Well, and the other thing is with the scenarios is that you can design substantially more complicated scenarios because of the complexity
and have
of the
them
game.
not break down.
Exactly. So you can have some really cool things that you can achieve in that. But yeah, that's something I will definitely stand by Antares as being one of the best systems ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now the next patron question is actually from many patrons. It was actually Chuck, John, Seamus, and Michael that all asked this question. And this question is also what we are going to kind of call the main topic for today, because it, obviously is very, on the
it's on everyone's
forefront
minds.
of everybody's mind. Yeah. And the question originated from Chuck, who asked, I hate to be the downer in the group, but I just saw the announcement on Warlords site about Antares. My questions are, number one, how hopeful are you that Antares will continue? And two, how do you think this will affect your games and channel? And then, just a lot of people really kind of expressed that similar sentiment. And it's one of those things where it's like, first of all, you're not a downer to ask questions. You ask questions about anything.
Also, before we get too into it, the announcement was that
Yes.
Warlords Games is no longer supporting Beyond the Gates of Antares. Their models are going to be sent over to, is it
Skytrex, which is the sister company. Yeah.
Which is a sister company. And the stewards of the game are now going to be wholly Tim Bancroft and Rick Priestley.
Which will be supporting it on what they're
like
calling
a
hobby basis.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be something that they pursue as it's not Tim's job any longer. But what I would say is that we are definitely both. I'm very optimistic about Antares.
Me too.
In all
actually,
honesty,
yeah. I don't think this is as much of a downer as everyone thinks it is. It seems dour, but I don't think it is in reality that dour.
And I think that the bite isn't really there for Sergey or I, because, we work very in depth with Antares. It's basically has been the main focus of our channel for the last, 3 years of our channel existing. And the writing was kind of on the wall. We kind of expected something like this to happen because of just the pandemic really threw a wrench in the cog to most things. That said, over the last 2 years where there hasn't been much development, it hasn't really slowed our games down at all. We've not enjoyed Antares because of that. You know what I mean? It obviously would have been nice for new minis to come out, but in all honesty, my plastic pile of shame is gigantic with Antares. We've been doing this for 3 years. We don't have all the armies like we said previously with the Gar Rebels, and we by no means have every unit produced for each of those armies. So there's a lot of models already. And the thing that made me happy was, the range is still going to be available for purchase via Skytrex. So literally, even though there's not going to be in the way of a lot of new official miniatures, you can still buy the entire full range, and the full range is gigantic.
Huge, yeah, absolutely. Plus, this kind of opens the floodgates a little bit for both Rick and Tim to do things without the oversight process of something like Warlord Games. So we might start seeing some really cool, or maybe personal, unique stuff coming out of them. Essentially, they've turned Antares from a corporate game to an indie game.
Yeah.
And I have never once thought indie games were less good than more corporate games. In fact, I usually think they're way better and more personal and cool. So I'm actually really excited to see what Tim and Rick do kind of untethered.
Well, because in all honesty, I wish we had more time to put it's so time consuming to build armies, but I absolutely love Warlords of Erewhon. I read that rulebook and I was like, wow, this is really cool, because I would say now version 2 has a lot of differences that are not similar to the changes that were made to the rule set when it was ported to fantasy, but just seeing the same system but designed for a entirely miniature agnostic game was really cool. And so with that said, moving into the futures of Antares, like Sergey said, if Tim and Rick want to make the rules up for, let's say, the ledger that was right below Vector in the Algorand, that can sometimes make up militia. I was just telling Sergey the other day, I was like, I hardly ever use the naked Algorand heads without a helmet with like the visors, and I was like, oh my god, I could just put together a whole unit, use nothing but those heads, and then we could have the defense force for a planet, you know what I mean? Something that's a little bit less so and a little cheaper than the AI squads. Maybe they have less equipment. Like things like that can happen very easily with just, you know, kit bashing and things like that. And I guarantee it's not I guarantee how quick it's going to happen, but they have joked about the Vorl coming out forever, and they've already told people, you know, like, hey, you know how to make STLs, you know how to do a 3D model, just, you know, maybe drop a line and we'll see what we can do. And so like I guarantee the rule set for that's going to come out, and the thing is that it's like you don't even really need STL files with new miniatures. Like there's a million science fiction settings out there that already have miniatures that are all sweet. I mean, on our channel we've used Reaper miniatures. I have, you know,
I've used a lot of Reaper miniatures.
Oh yeah, and you know, you just add them to the mix and it's like, okay, these are a drone, this is, you know, a diplomat, this is that, you know, and so like Sergey said, the untethered aspect of this is what makes me the most excited, is because, you know, Tim and Rick can make, you know, campaigns, they can make scenarios, they can do all these things, and then post them on the new Nexus, which Tim and Rick are currently developing. I think the decision is going to be that it will be released once there are more articles and like the custom characters and stuff they've been working on are more fleshed out. So that right there is so cool, because there's going to be a new Nexus. It's going to be something where Tim and Rick can post things directly to, and then those things can be disseminated throughout the, you know, community, and it'll be cool.
Well, it's cool also, like, you know, Tim cares a lot about Antares. Like we both personally know Tim, and Tim knows what the hell he's doing really well, and B, really cares about what he's doing. So I'm sure we're gonna see cool stuff from him. And also I would like to start a petition right now to change the name of Antares 2 to Antares Untethered.
That's so funny. And I really like a lot of the Tim is setting up the story for basically the opening of where we are chronologically with the game upon version 2's release.
If you want more information on stuff like this, the Freeborn Shard is absolutely where
we'll link him in the description below.
It's I think it's on Anchor FM, but I think it's also on Spotify. That's where I usually listen to it. And right now he's doing a little series called Revenge, that's kind of setting the scene for where the Gar are in version 2 of Antares.
Where the Gar are.
Where the Gar are.
It's like the morning news channel.
Yeah. Where the Gar are. Do. But and actually, me and Kevin are helping him out with that, because he's doing it in a narrative way, so it's kind of like a old-fashioned radio play, and me and Kevin are playing 2 of the characters, which has been really fun.
It's super fun. Yeah. I hope he keeps doing them. I will do them. I will do any kind of weird voices. I love it. It's so fun.
Absolutely. Me and Kevin have fallen in love with the art of radio drama.
Yes, it's such a, I love it. It's and, like once you learn
how to seeing more radio drama on our channel.
It's the truth.
We're doing some secret recording stuff that our patrons know about, but I'm not going to talk about because we're public right now.
But yeah, so I mean, we could probably talk for hours, but just, you know, right now, before we know a lot, which is what is going to be developing in the future, the main thing is we are very optimistic, and
extremely so. Yeah.
But what I would like to say is that the other thing that makes me optimistic about this is that, you know, Tim has been, you know, someone who has developed through, you know, narrative and articles and things like that, the game over the last 2 years. And even though I hasn't seen much in the way of, like, you know, new minis and the new rule set hadn't come out or anything like that, the community still has pushed Antares forward, and as long as we continue doing that, sharing what we're doing on,
well, it feels like the community has been growing too.
Oh yeah, it has, absolutely. And so it's like, don't discourage, you know, if someone says, like, you know, oh, they stopped developing, it's like, well, I mean, the miniatures are still available, and it's an amazing game, and I have this demo game set up, and I would love you to, you know, try it out. People can still get into it, and so we should still continue on with those efforts. And piggybacking off of that, the second part of Chuck's question was that, you know, how is this going to affect our games, and how is this going to affect our channel? I mean, not going to affect our
really.
games anymore, other than the fact that we're going to be playing version 2 here pretty soon.
Yeah, which is very exciting.
And we don't have any plans on, discontinuing the content. We would really like to develop, Sergey and I have been discussing this, a how to play series, because we would love our channel.
That'll be great for version 2. We've been holding off on stuff like that because we knew version 2 was on the horizon, so we didn't make a video that was immediately no longer useful.
That being said, our patrons have been seeing us develop a lot of things in the background that we talk about all the time, and generally speaking, we are in the works and planning on adding more game systems to our channel. And so right now, from the outside looking in, you would say, oh, Kevin and Sergey have an Antares channel, and that will not be the case in the future. But that does not mean, once again, that we're going to be ceasing Antares content, but just
it's going to be among our content.
Just by proxy of the fact that we're going to be adding new systems, you will see a decrease in the regularity of the content, but not quality. We have a lot of new toys that we're going to be working on, and it's going to be really cool. So yes, optimistic about Antares. We'll be featuring it on our channel for years to come. And
absolutely.
As long as the community stays strong and continues doing what it's doing, I think it's going to keep growing.
That was the main topic for discussion for today, but we do have one more question.
Yes, the last question was from Didge, who said, I think you could do a whole episode on the elephant in the room. One of my biggest regrets is that I won't get to meet you guys at an Antares day. Yeah. It does cut to our hearts, but
I'm sure we'll fly over to England at some point.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure.
We
actually had tickets.
Yes, we have like the credits, like we have all the money set aside basically, and in the airports, I guess. And so we have a whole trip.
Yeah, it was right before the pandemic, so it got canceled.
Yeah,
but we got credit for it because it was canceled because of the pandemic. Yeah.
So, Tim, for instance, I know has been advertising. He's running an event coming up on like the 28th of May. Unfortunately, that's just too soon for us to be able to organize ourselves to get there. But we will be talking to Tim in the future, and when something else like this happens, we will use that as the excuse to come over. Because we would love to meet
all the stars
of our UK
align,
fans.
we'll meet our UK fans. Yeah,
and European fans in general. It's kind of easy to get around over there, so it's like it'll be super fun, and we definitely, that is one of our main goals for the channel that we will achieve. Our patron questions aside, these development vlogs are for us to talk about development.
And we're going to focus on Antares for this episode.
Yeah, we're going to focus on Antares today because it's actually this is kind of perfect how the stars aligned. And piggybacking off the main topic of, the future of Antares, we have been working with one of our patrons, Michael Crow. He was the last recipient. We had the benefit of being able to work on content as one of our legacy benefits from when we first started Patreon. And Michael basically wanted us to reproduce a scenario of kind of like a planet being besieged by some form of advanced Antares,
like an Intel.
And we have landed on the Concord as the bad guys, and he wanted us to create the representation of what basically like a feral army, like an army that is not as advanced, and then depicting that struggle between the two factions. And in that regard, I have designed a complete custom faction and have been building an army to go with it. And I am very close to finishing said army,
which I can't wait.
It's gonna be so fun. And
he painted a commander to look like me. I'm pretty pumped about it.
Well, okay, it looks like a ginger Santa Claus, but it is red bearded. So because I decided I have worked on this faction a bunch, and I'm gonna have Sergey play as the faction. And since it was a big project, we obviously want to feature that over the course of several episodes. So we are going to be releasing this custom-made feral army to go with a campaign that I'm also going to be designing that will have its themes kind of anchored in like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. It's gonna be wild, and we really want it to be like high production value and kind of feature a lot of the
techniques that we've developed in
We've been
secret over a
developing,
while.
As far as the development for Antares content, you know, we just finished the mini campaign that Sergey had designed. We're probably going to be
Which
doing
is
some
super
just
fun.
like, oh yeah, it was so fun. We might be doing just a few match scenarios to bridge the gap between this and the Michael. We're just gonna call it the Michael Crow content. That's the code name for that file.
Code name Crow.
Code name Crow. That's so badass. I wish I had a cool last name like Michael. My last name is so lame. Stats. What is it? It makes no sense.
I don't know what it is.
But either way, then we'll probably have, you know, we want to have Laura on again to challenge. Because actually, one of our patrons, Savage Brewski, had made the claim that whoever wins that, he'll buy a T-shirt for us. So that would be really fun.
That's what
to
actually
do.
motivated Laura to challenge me in the first place. She was like, I want that T-shirt.
Yeah. And so that will be on the horizon. And then, yeah, like I said, once we get this army done, fully fledged out army, by the way, like I think I'll be able to play like 1,000-point lists with it once I'm done. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, so a lot of stuff for Antares in the future, so it's going to be really cool.
Now, there is plenty of more stuff on the backlog that me and Kevin are currently working on, but if you want to know more about that, you'll have to join our Patreon campaign so you get access to all of our development vlogs where we tell you all of our secrets.
As always, if you like this video, please give it a like and comment and let us know what you think about the future of Antares. Are you hopeful? What are you excited about? We would love to know. And while you're at it, make sure that you have notifications enabled so that you can see when we produce new content.
Until then, we'll see all of you on the tabletop.